Hey guys, Daniel from Autolog here. Today we are going to do a quick review video of APR TCU, also known as APR DSG Tune on my car, which is Mark 7.5 GTI. Recently, APR has dropped all their price range, including the ECU and a DSG Tune. For example, for my car, which has the DSG DQ250, the APR normally charge $11.99 Australian dollars, but they have dropped the price down to $899 Australian dollars. So I'm just gonna try the APR TCU Tune and see if it's worth it and see if there's any big improvements compared to the stock DSG Tune. Spoiler alert, is it really worth that extra $899 Australian dollars to get the APR TCU Tune? Maybe, but in most cases, no. Let's go for a drive and find out why. So the car that we're going to use for the review today is my own car, which is Mark 7.5 Golf GTI. Apart from the APR TCU DSG Tune, we also have an APR Stage 3 ECU file with the full bolt-on, including i38 turbo, downpipe, and extra bits such as cold air intakes and a catback. So while we're driving to a freeway, let's look at a quick comparison of the Dyno Graph in between the stock DSG and the one with the APR DSG Tune. One on the left side is the Dyno Graph of the Stage 3 GTI with the stock DSG, and the one on the right is the same car but with the APR TCU Tune. The dyno were measured on the same place in the same time as well, so we can actually compare it without any biased information. If you look at the stock DSG Stage 3 GTI, you can actually see that the peak torque doesn't go higher than 400 Newton meters of torque. I think this one is actually caused by the stock TCU limiting the torque to 400 Newton meters of torque. Hence, even though Stage 3 is claimed that they can produce peak torque up to 522 Newton meters of torque, you can see that dyno only measured up to 399. On the other hand side, if you look at the same car with the APR DSG Tune, there is not a big improvement on peak kilowatts, but you can see a big difference in peak torques. You can actually see that there's at least 50 Newton meters of torque of peak torque difference, which you can easily feel while you're driving. And my personal feeling and experience kind of match with the Dyno Graph result that I've shown you guys here. Overall, I don't see like a huge improvement on acceleration since the TCU Tune, but I can definitely feel there's a slight improvement on acceleration between 3000 RPM to 4000, 5000 RPM, just in the mid-range RPM. I can feel the slight improvement on acceleration, but in a lower or higher RPM range, I just don't feel any difference compared to stock TCU Tune. Although I gotta admit that there is a big difference regarding the clamping force of the DSG clutch, because I can definitely feel that. For example, you're not supposed to full send, like press the gas pedal all the way on a lower RPM range, especially 4th, 5th and 6th gear. But when I just tested it with the stock TCU, I can feel that there was a slippage of the DSG clutch, especially when you try to do a full send on the 2.5k RPM. But after the APR TCU Tune, even though you're not supposed to full send on the low RPM range, there was no slippage at all. Even when I just put it on the 4th, 5th and 6th gear, even if you do the full send, there is a hesitation of acceleration, but definitely there was no slippage on the DSG clutch, which is a good thing, and I believe that this could actually save the lifespan of the DSG. The huge second improvement that I can feel right now is the downshift speed of the DSG, especially when you're using a pedal shifter using a manual mode. The APR website, they state that if you do the APR TCU Tune, you can dramatically increase the upshift and the downshift speed. I don't 100% agree with that. when I'm driving right now, I can definitely feel that there's a night and day difference. When I do downshift, the speed is just so much quicker. But the upshift speed though, it's actually the speed, I can't feel the difference. It's actually exactly same as the upshift speed of the stock DSG. I'll just try to demonstrate. So as you can see the speed here, and you can see the RPM range, and my pedal shifter is full alloy, so you can actually hear that not tickle, but like metallic noise when I try to do the upshift or downshift. So when I do downshifts right now, there's a right turning quick, but when I do upshift, it's not instant. There's like a 1 or 1.5 second delay when I press the pedal shifter to do upshift, and then maybe in average about 1 second later the gear actually upshift to the higher gear. When I do the downshift again, you can hear it, it's instant. But when I do upshift, it's not as instant as downshift. So what I feel is that when I do the upshift, the speed of upshifting is actually pretty much same as stock DSG, but downshift speed is so much quicker compared to the stock DSG. I can actually feel it straight away, and I'm gonna admit that there's a night and day difference. Although the APR website should change the statement, because they said the shifting point is much faster overall, I only feel the downshift speed is much quicker, but upshift speed, if you try to compare with the stock DSG Tune, there's no difference at all, which is a little bit disappointing. There's few annoying things since I've got the APR TCU Tune. For example, I'm on a M3 highway, and normally in Australia the typical speed limit on the freeway is 100 kilometers per hour. But the nature of this APR TCU Tune, it tries to hold gear, and the RPM range is very high compared to stock DSG. For example, I'm on a, like you can see, let's drive at 102 kilometers per hour just to be safe. This is like an average cruising speed on the freeway, but you can see that even though I'm driving 201 kilometers per hour, I'm still at the 5th gear. Normally on the stock DSG Tune, basically the gear upshift automatically from 5th to 6th when you're driving at around 72, 73 kilometers per hour. But with the APR DSG Tune, it basically treat your DSG like you got the 5-speed DSG. When you're actually putting on gas a bit more, it actually downshift to 4th when you're driving 100 plus kilometers per hour. And even if I'm driving 108, let's go to 110. If I'm driving 110, it goes to 6th gear. But in Australia, there's not much freeway that you can drive 110 kilometers per hour or even higher than that. Normally in Australian standard, we drive 100 kilometers per hour on the freeway, and you can see that it is holding 5th gear. So because of that, you can kind of waste a bit of petrol compared to stock DSG, and especially when you have an aftermarket catback or downpipe, and if your car has that specific droning noise between 2000 to 3000 RPM, and it could be really annoying for you when you're trying to daily this car. This issue can be fixed if you use the speed limiter built in on the Volkswagen Golf. So now I use speed limiter. I set the speed limiter to 103, and you can see that it acts as normal, just same as stock TCU Tune. Now I'm driving 100 kilometers per hour with the 6th gear, which is very comfortable and just cruising daily. But not much people use the speed limiter though. That's the problem. I think APR should maybe update the TCU Tune, maybe upshift to 6th gear when I'm driving 100 kilometers per hour, because we have a different speed limit. I don't think it works quite well. The next thing that we're going to talk about is the launch control features of APR TCU. So Golf GTI and Golf R, they both have launch control features as a standard from factory, but after you get the APR DSG Tune, they actually behave a little bit differently. When you get the APR TCU Tune from any APR dealership, you can actually set the launch control RPM, whether to be 3000 RPM or 4000 RPM. You can choose to do that, but for GTI or any front-wheel drive car, I would recommend people to get the 3000 RPM, because as being a front-wheel drive car, unless you have really grippy semi-slick tires, 4000 RPM launch control is just gonna result in wheel slipping and just really bad traction. So you actually ended up not getting a good 0 to 100 or quarter mile result. Before I talk about traction control more, let's just hear what launch control exhaust sounds like with the 0 to 100 video, seeing if there's any improvement on 0 to 100 as well as the exhaust note.
Proceed to test. 50. 100.
So for the APR TCU, the launch control exhaust note sounds pretty much the same compared to the stock DSG Tune, and I'm not sure if there was any improvement on 0 to 100 either, because after the APR TCU Tune, I was getting consistent 5.55 or 5.58 seconds for 0 to 100. This one seems to be fairly average time for stage 3 ECU, even if I didn't do the stock, I mean even if I didn't do the APR TCU Tune. So even with the stock DSG Tune, 5.5 seems to be just a normal result to get. So I honestly don't think that APR TCU Tune have improved the acceleration from 0 to 100. The one thing that I really hate about APR DSG Tune is that the launch control gets active in every single situation. For example, when I was having a stock DSG Tune, everything was fine. The launch control gets only active when I turn on the traction off or put the traction mode in sports. On top of that, I actually had to press the the brake pedal all the way in order to activate the launch control. After the APR DSG Tune, the situation got way different. Now I actually get the launch control even if I don't turn off the traction, and just like pressing like 2mm, maybe like 5-10% brake pedal, the launch control still becomes active. And within a few weeks of using the APR TCU Tune, I got into this really annoying situation where I'm waiting on a traffic light and then traffic light turned green. As soon as I step on a gas pedal, the launch control becomes active, even though I didn't intend to use the launch control. Because I'm normally using one foot for, I mean my right foot is pressing both brake pedal and a gas pedal, which is what most drivers like to do. When you step up the brake pedal and then press the gas pedal straight away, the launch control gets active, which is very annoying. Especially you normally get the DSG Tune to, you know, improve the lifespan of the DSG and then just prevent any DSG clutch slippage, but because you're doing a launch control and you're not actually full sending it, there is a lot of DSG clutch slipping going on. So this one is probably the worst features of the APR DSG Tune that I've ever experienced. Maybe if they really want to let driver use launch control with the traction being fully on, they can maybe increase the brake pedal threshold so driver can press the gas pedal all the way in, and then the TCU can enable the launch control. In conclusion, the APR TCU, I don't know, it could be good for maybe a car that goes to track quite often or mountain run, but it kills the dailyable drivability simply because, as I mentioned, the launch control just becoming active everywhere, and holding gear making the car to rev really high even on the freeway cruising. it's just not suitable for daily driving. And even if the APR have reduced their price to $8.99, I think I mean, I'm just using it now. I don't think it is worth $8.99. I believe it is still overpriced. The reason is that this APR DSG Tune is not fully defined at the moment. There is a lot of things that they need to improve on. For example, the holding gear too high, the launch control being active everywhere, and just basically the off shift speed is just being same as the stock DSG. I think they can either, I don't know, maybe do the package of the ECU plus TCU tune, maybe about $14.99. Like, that's what Australian custom tuners are currently doing at the moment. Honestly though, even though I'm repping APR and I'm using a lot of APR products on my car, I have to look at the consumer view, and $8.99, I honestly wouldn't get the APR TCU for this price. Maybe I'm not gonna comment the price, but then definitely there's a lot of improvements that they need to work on. So that's everything for today, guys. If you like to see more car related videos, please subscribe to my channel and like this video. As always, stay safe and I'll see you next time.